the state. Very interesting. Then there's this version, which is the national version that most states have adopted. Okay? And then you got the one for New York and the 1AD for New York. So we're gonna, we got in our status course for the people that really support what we're doing here. We got step by step instructions, every step of everything, answering questions every week. We thought we would open it up for like 2 or 3 weeks in a row and try to give everybody on our private membership a sneak peek into what we do, what we're doing behind the scenes here, and giving you guys some first initial steps to start to get the gears rolling in your head in order to reestablish your trust, which is the first step to, from our point of view, to creating sovereignty. So with that ado, I am really worn out. I should be going and drinking some water. I'm starting to get a little bit of a headache from talking so much. So I appreciate you guys for packing the webinar. It really is appreciated for you guys staying out late on a Friday night instead of going out to a restaurant or spending time with your friends or watching Big Bang Theory. So if anyone wants to say anything, comment, or ask questions, I didn't really take any questions, so I would love to unmute people that got their hands raised. Think I'm starting to understand it. Thank you for breaking it down for us. I like the new format. Yeah, I appreciate it. Does each beneficiary need to be an exchanger? No, beneficiaries are not going to be exchangers in this trust. Nope. Easy thought. The exchanger should be either you, the first trustee, or your second trustee, or a third party that's not having any other position of the trust. How can I be a student? You could be a student by just staying on our email list and attending these webinars. We are going to do weekly webinars. We have not done free weekly webinars for all the free members because we haven't had the time to afford to do so. Okay, and we were on a tight budget. We were we were losing money every month, and we were trying to get out of the red. So we haven't done free webinars. I'm sorry, but starting from this week, we will be doing free webinars or conference calls every week, even if you've never sent us $1. Okay, that's just something we've always wanted to do. We used to do it, but we fell off because we had to balance our books and our budget and work on projects and dig our heads into the books and really study really hard over the last year. So I apologize for not having that, but we will do that from now on. If you want to contribute to our soon-to-be congregation and support our work in exchange for the 15-week status correction course, I think I kind of covered that. I don't like to oversell and point stuff, but I just want to answer the guy's question. So if you go to our website, understandcontractlaw.com, click on status correction course. This is all the stuff that we cover. It's probably going to go a little bit more than 15 weeks. Initially, I thought it was going to be 12 weeks to cover all this material, but it's a lot of material. You have a lifetime access to go through the material. This is, again, a video that gives you an overview of the basic table of contents, if you will, of the 10 main categories of areas that we're going to go into. But we teach you how to get an international driver's permit, American national passport, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And, of course, going through and completing the process that I'm starting to teach you right here, and the filing of the UCC, why it's important, answering questions. There's a UCC 3. There's other notifications. There's other things. There's a lot of things. There's training about if you have a court case, how do you use this material to deal with your court case, right? So you can get that, and you can become an apprentice, and you can learn, and the best students from that class who really learn it and do the processes themselves and get it all 100% correct will have an opportunity to get paid to work with our other members to actually help our other members, okay? So if you contribute, it's a tuition. Think of it as paying to go to college so that you can get a job later on. Not also to mention, you're learning it. It's valuable to learn it for yourself, but you can also teach it to other people. You can have other people pay money to you for you to help them with it if you want. We just want you to make sure you graduate the course and learn it, and we'll give you a certificate that you did graduate from it. So we're really seeking people in that realm. But if you want to be a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more chill, and just casually observe the training webinars and stuff too, that's fine too. That's totally welcome. That is totally welcome. Everybody's looking at this at their own pace, okay? So, you know, you could get with us about the expenses for getting this paperwork done for you and taking the course, or both, and there is a special on getting both of them for the price of one. Okay, so instead of paying twice to get all this filled out, put it into your 100-page template, giving you you know, all these documents and more, we will give you that for free if you sign up for the status correction course, and that offer ends by the end of February, okay? So just get with Jay and let him know that you want to do that by calling us during the daytime. I'm sure you guys have our phone number. It's on our website, a few different places. So that's how you can become an apprentice and learn, you know, 15, 16 weeks, however long it takes, every step, everything on recording, 99-year license to either logging into the site or getting a download link that never expires for you to always get the recordings, the editable documents, the step-by-step, et cetera, et cetera. I don't really believe in offset bonds anymore or 1040V vouchers. That's a different topic of conversation, but I don't really believe in that. Yeah, spoken word is powerful. Yeah, if you have your meeting and you speak it out loud and you record it and you save it in your fireproof safe, ain't nobody gonna be able to dispute the existence of your trust, right? So that's the idea, is just getting the signatures and stuff. Some of the stuff is witnessed, some of the stuff is notarized. You're not filing any of your trust documents anywhere. All your trust documents are private. Same thing when you open up a corporation or an LLC. There is an Articles of Organization that's private. Now there's an Articles of Incorporation that's public. It's like a 1 or 2 page declaration that you're incorporating or giving the jurisdiction to do business in a particular state. And you can do that if you wish to do that in the statutory world. You can also get around that. You can do that in the common law, and you do not need to incorporate a business. You can operate through a unincorporated business. That's something that we also set up for people. You can go to our product section of our website. You can call us. You can set up a coaching call. We can talk to you more about that if you're interested. But in a typical LLC corporation, many of you might be familiar with, you file an Articles of Incorporation, but the Articles of Organization is the private documents, right? That's the much more details about the purpose of the trust, the roles, it's the private contract. You don't file that anywhere, okay? That's just on your private books and records. So that's what the Declaration of Trust is, and these can go, like I said, you go to advanced stuff like the Art of Passing the Buck and elsewhere, and you can get, I think the MIC course. They will just talk about, like, the focal point of it is the running and management of the trust, and particularly a very comprehensive declaration of trust and trust indenture. You know, so the trust's information is all your private books and records. It's to be kept in safekeeping in case you ever need it to pull it out in order to prove it, like, say, to a judge or to the IRS or to someone. You know, why you've been filing all these 1041s? You haven't paid income taxes and filing 1040s and so forth. Well, show them the existence of the trust. Doesn't mean you're going to just go automatically and photocopy everything and give them all that private confidential information, but you can allow them to inspect the documents as long as you are I would hold on to the binder and just flip through it and show them and point to the signatures and the dates and the witnesses. And I would say, you're going to say I'm not operating a trust and it's not appropriate for me to file 1041? Okay, you're willing to rebut all this paperwork that I got signed here? You willing to rebut this? You know, like, come on. So that's why it's important to have this stuff and to do it appropriately, because if you're going to fill out different tax forms every year, you want to be able to show that IRS agent in his face, hey, listen, this is an express trust. I'm filing taxes as an express trust, not as an individual. Why don't you look at it, examine it, and you testify and tell me which form of taxes I'm supposed to file. I even got an EIN number for an irrevocable trust. Well, how am I supposed to? How do you think I'm supposed to file it? And they'll go away and leave you alone. You know what I mean? But extremely important to do everything properly. You got this notice to beneficiaries with the certificates sent to the beneficiaries. You got the certified mail. You got them to sign the green card with their name on it, comma, as beneficiary of so-and-so trust. You know. And this is one that bleeds over to 2 pages. The text is a little bit more spaced out and larger. So you got multiple different versions to based on, you know, sometimes I like fitting the document to, you know, 1 page like this one, so that is less paperwork, and then sometimes I space it out a little bit and it bleeds over to 2 pages. Registry of Trust Certificates, boom, 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 boom. Now, I like this one, this Abstract of Trust version 2. I really like this one because we formatted this one a little cool. Declaration of Trustee, boom, 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 and then it's got nice split down the middle, fitting to 2 pages, nice and pretty, notarized signatures of both trustees declaring that all these 12 points are true. So they're affirming and swearing under penalty of perjury all these 12 points of the trust. So this is like something you would show to open up a bank account. The abstract and certification of trustee. You would fill out all this information, bring this to open a bank account. That's the main document you need. And we show you how to do that in the course. And if you have issues and trouble, we walk you through Q&A, trial and error. We walk you through all that. These are the stickers that you would put on a trust property and take a photograph of the property if it's you know, valuable to you. Property of someone's, you know, Mark John Smith Trust, copyright, security agreement number, EIN number, UCC filing number, even you could put on there. Okay. Bank account resolution. Okay. That one's got 2 witnesses on it. See, the unassigned trustees of the above named trust resolved that Mark John Smith, being the managing director of the trust, was or is herein fully authorized by the board of trustees to select and make application to any bank or financial institution for the purpose of establishing one or more checking accounts to serve in the name of the trust, blah, 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 right? So this as well. So that abstract of trust and the banking resolution is all you need to open up a bank account. But not all bank accounts. Most banks don't open up trust accounts. Okay, we show you in our course step by step every intricate detail. That's why I went over those step by step filing instructions. We show you every detail recorded on video with me narrating and reading through every detail, and also a partner of mine is going to be on some of the videos as well that we're still putting together. But step by step by step, we show you what exact bank chains to go to that have the most success, and we give you a sample script of how it's going to go down. They might talk to their manager. They might say, well, we don't know if we can do this. There's ways to get around it. There's tested, proven, and tried stuff. And if you have any feedback that you want to contribute, please tell us. Please tell us. This is how we put this information together, is because there are people out there doing some trial and error and giving us the information and sharing with us, as well as us ourselves, you know, me, myself, going through with some trial and error. We show you how to do that. And again, I would close down the bank account of Mark John Smith that was opened with just the social, and I would reopen a bank account if you want a bank account that's not in a separate company or whatever, right? If close down your Mark John Smith account and reopen it as Mark John Smith Trust with the EIN number, with this banking resolution and this abstract of trust. Where did it go? I lost it. Well, you guys know what I'm talking about. Oh, where is it? The abstract of trust. This one, okay? These all have to be filled in and signed and so forth. It's obviously not filled in yet. What else we got? The security agreement. Okay, this is the infamous security agreement example. Yada, 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 yada. Pretty standard stuff here. I don't really like talking about the security agreement. It's out there. People know about it. There's, you know, UCC secured party gurus out there. I mean, it's standard stuff. You know, the one we got is good, but You've seen that. You've heard about that before. There's other stuff. I don't have the time to really go into all this stuff. And this folder here that you're seeing with these 21, 22, 23 documents, actually 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. There's 30 documents in this folder, right? 32 items. Well, those are those folders. But this is not the complete, everything that you can do. This is a great initial setup. And it's a complete process to do this from setup to give you protections. But you got to go through that sample step-by-step Word document, or get some coaching, or get on our week-to-week webinars in our status correction course, and we'll go over everything in much detail. It's not enough for one webinar, it's not enough for 2 webinars, it's not enough for 3 webinars, but it is a lot to take in, okay? But if you want the secured party process too, you can also just get to our website and fill this out and email to us after you work out some exchange arrangements that are, fair, okay? So I'm just going to read the rest of these questions here. I'm kind of worn out, about 3 hours later. Really appreciate what you're doing. You have me extremely motivated to learn. Well, thank you, Edwin, who has left the room. All right, most of you guys are still on the webinar. I mean, this is just awesome. Sign me up, brother. This was great information. I like the easy-to-follow script. Well, you're welcome. Thanks, Monique. Great, awesome, thanks. This is great info. Thanks for putting it all together. Who gets the beneficiary interest then? Anyone you select as beneficiaries, your children. But you don't... Did I read that? Oh, my God, I might have skipped something here. Notice the beneficiaries. There's one key point that I wanted to... one key point I wanted to really make. To notice the beneficiaries. Yeah, I think I skipped that. I skipped one of the key points. You may waive, so in the notice to beneficiaries, and this is on the website, right? But it says, you may waive your beneficial position in the trust at any time by providing written notice to either of the 2 trustees listed above. The trustee cannot make distributions to you until you return a signed copy of the letter at the bottom. This does not mean that you are or will be entitled to a distribution in the near future, as that is determined by the Board of Trustees, the Declaration of Trust, and the available wealth or assets in the trust at any time. Really important. So your beneficiaries aren't going to have great access to wealth per se. You can have whatever clause of distribution you want in your Declaration of Trust. You can say that the beneficiaries will only be distributed whatever assets, wealth, or money in the trust whenever the board unanimously votes on doing so. So it could be delayed for years or your life. Okay? It could be delayed a long time. Or if there's money in the trust, you can make distributions of 1% every, 5 years. Okay? It's whatever you determine, whatever is in the Declaration of Trust. And usually you write your Declaration of Trust to be pretty broad, to give you the control, or the Board of Trustees the control to determine when and how, if ever, beneficiaries get financial distributions. Okay? So technically the beneficiaries have the beneficial interest and are the owners. But again, Rockefeller said control everything, own nothing. Or own nothing, control everything. And the trustee can get trustee income and things that are paid for from the trust in order to compensate him fairly for being a trustee, and can have the cell phone bill, lease, any other accounts, vehicles in the name of the trust, and have the trust bank account pay those bills. So it's a way to do business and have stuff that you have the use of, the property. Usufruct is the you getting the use of property of another person or entity or individual. So you can use, as trustee, the trust property. The beneficiaries can get use out of some of the trust property, but it's at the Board of Trustees' discretion. So really, I'd rather be in the trustee position than the beneficiary. I don't know about you guys. So I hope you guys understand that and understand the roles. We will try to break it down for you as much as we can in future webinars. It's past midnight here on the East Coast. I love and appreciate the fact that we had a ton of positive feedback when we went with people registering and getting on this webinar. So we look to do this each and every week, but those of you on the status correction will get the step-by-step status stuff. So try to make that decision if you can. Give an equal exchange and contribute for the status course. It would be great. If not, and you really don't have the money, there's other ways we can still teach you material. It just won't be the exact material that goes over this entire process. So, anyways, without further ado, I didn't unmute anybody. Are we going to have live classrooms where we can all sit down and learn? I don't know. How many students? Yeah, we're going to deal with local students later on in the year. What about the video using the trust interest aside? This is not Yolanda, this is the process that you want to have initially in order to, if you're going to want to discharge debt, you need this process set up first. There's other stuff like Forms 56, appointing Secretary of Treasury as fiduciary, and then offering them a partnership to offering them a bond to discharge debt, but we don't have time to go into that now. But you need all this stuff set up first. That's above and beyond taking control of the legal name. Okay, discharging debt is an advanced process. You need to have this foundation down first, and then you can have additional meetings to do additional investments and to set up additional accounts for those purposes. Okay, and there's much easier ways to fight debt collectors than trying to set up accounts to discharge debt with the Treasury, because it's very fluid and changing, and they don't want you doing it. And if you do one thing wrong, you'll get a knock on the door or worse. So we really want you to understand what you're doing if you're going to go down that path, and ultimately that's your choice. But there's other ways to deal with debt collectors. You can contact us and find out what we recommend. But there's more mainstream, simpler ways to get out of debt that don't involve any set-offs and things like that. Is it advisable to become an affiliate marketer for every entity you promote? I don't know what that means. Can Express Trust for not own a for-profit entity? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. You can have a trust that owns an LLC, a corporation. You can do whatever you want. You can structure it any creative way that you wish. Audio dropped when you were talking about not being able to discharge your A for V car loans. If you got foreclosure, there's a lot of mainstream processes. Just call us and ask us, and we'll look at your documents and what process you're in. Foreclosure is kind of easy if you know what to do. Okay? Don't think that you can just discharge your mortgage. They're not going to let you get away with that. It's going to be, I've seen it happen and get reversed. It could be a nightmare. You don't want to go down that path, in my opinion, unless you're extremely advanced. If if you're holding that off for 2 or 3 years or 4 years, and you're really, if you have some special power to really grasp this stuff at a rate like 10 times faster than the average Joe, then go forth and try to figure that out. Go ahead, make that decision. But I hope that you don't need to stop the foreclosure in the next couple of months, and you're pressuring to figure out how to discharge it, because that's a recipe for disaster. Because I wouldn't play around with any funky instruments like set-offs and discharges unless you really are advanced. And you don't need to risk that. You don't need to, like I said, Some of the gurus recently got charged and convicted of making and using fictitious instruments. Some of that stuff. So be careful. Okay? Why would you apply for an IRS EIN number for a common law entity? You don't have to. No, you don't have to. You can get a bank account without an EIN number. That is totally possible. It's difficult. They're going to give you a hard time. You may get turned away a few times, but we're putting a tool together and some documents together to give people a little bit more tools to make it a little bit more possible. But a lot of people without the experience and the knowledge of the law are going to get turned away and pressured into just, the bank's going to refuse you to open a bank account. Okay, so, and this kind of trust usually isn't going to have much or any tax liability anyway. So the only tax obligations if you get an EIN number would be to file a 1041 at the end of the year to get TurboTax from a Staples office store or buy it online for like, $75, $100 every year. Just go through the fields, answer the questions, and your tax liability would most likely be zero because you're not going to have a lot of money funneling through this that is going to be paid to beneficiaries. So it's not likely that you're going to have income. So since it's the reason why we recommend an EIN number usually is because since it's easy to get a bank account and you're not going to be turned away 5, 6, 7, 10 times and have to recite the law and threaten to sue them for violating the law for not opening your bank account. It's just easier to tell people to get an EIN number, especially if most of the scenarios you're going to not have any income anyway. So you could set your trust up foreign and do a 98 EIN number. You could do that if you are aware of that. Take your own precautions and risks and really dig in and learn what responsibilities you have and if that truly is appropriate based on how many limited contacts or how many involved contacts in the United States do you have. So I just don't want the mistake of people getting a 98 EIN number and then getting in trouble with the IRS because you're getting an EIN number that says that you're foreign and then you're doing business within the United States and then you're claiming you're exempt from doing any reporting requirements from the IRS, but then you're actually not because your conduct is as if you were a 47 series EIN number, but you filed a 98 EIN number. So you could be in trouble for fraud or tax evasion or things like that if you don't know how to operate with the 98 EIN. And if you don't have the proper status as a foreigner, if you do have your U.S. citizenship, if you have your birth certificate, if you have your birth certificate, social security number, and all that stuff, it's going to be very difficult for you to make the argument that you are foreign unless you expatriated or done something else. So it's a sticky situation. I know everybody's talking about getting the 98, but hey, it's like everybody was talking about, OID, and now they're all in jail, right? The 1099 OID filings. People want and people talk about and people post on forums and the stuff that goes viral online fast that everybody wants to talk about is the stuff that is, if it were to work, would be the most awesomest thing in the world, but our approach is to be a little more realistic and a little more on the safe side. So I'm sure you guys can appreciate that. But you could do whatever you want. In the class, we discuss we discuss all the different forms of EIN numbers for every kind of legal entity, including a ministry, a trust, a private foundation. We discuss every kind so that you can make the determination how you want to structure your trust or other trusts or other entities so that you can have, that knowledge. Do they have to know about being beneficiary of trust? That's a really good question, Eric. Beneficiary of a trust doesn't have to know that they're the beneficiary. Okay, you can have in your trust indenture that the beneficiary doesn't know. It's called a blind beneficiary. And you can have in that declaration of trust indenture, you can have that, at the time of someone's death, or at the time when 10 or 25 years pass, whatever assets are in the trust, you're going to distribute 10% or 100% or whatever percent to whatever beneficiary or beneficiaries. Okay, so you can say at your death, you give everything off to your beneficiaries, and the trust collapses, and that's it. And they don't have to know. They do not have to know. So you can set that up. You can put that clause in there. That's why, you know, a lot of these documents that we give when you're in our course are editable documents. But it is beneficial for you to kind of like retype some of the stuff out on your own. But, you know, I don't want to make people retype this whole thing, but I hope that you go through and eventually read it. And all the personalization that you can do, you can add in, you know, in the appropriate place. The reason why in this type of a trust we give